What's up, guys? Josh here. Today I'm going to tell you how to get a cruise ship gig. Don't you want this glorious cabin to be all yours? Um, anyway, I'm going to try to make this brief, but basically, if you want to work on cruise ships and you're a decent musician, you're in luck because it's really easy to do this. I mean, to get a gig. Um, there's tons of cruise ships and they all need musicians. The Carnival Corporation, which owns Princess, who I'm working for now, uh, see that? I'm wearing name tags like a good little slave. The Carnival Corporation owns over 100 ships by itself, and there's tons of other companies too. Uh, I don't know what their names are, but anyway, there's a lot of cruise ships, and they all need musicians, and they're always cycling through different people. So there's plenty of opportunities for gigs. I really see no reason to think that it will take you a lot of effort or time to find one. So there's two things I basically want to talk about is how to initially get the make contact with someone who can get you a gig, and the audition process. So basically, as far as my knowledge goes, based on my experience and all the more experienced people I've talked to, if you want to work on a cruise ship, you can either use an agent, like whether it's Proship, which is one of the larger agencies, or an independent agent to hook you up with a cruise ship, or you can go directly and just call a specific cruise line and say, "Hey, I'm a musician. I'd like to work for you," and then they'll hook you up with their entertainment coordinator, and they'll do an audition through that method. So I've only worked through agencies. I did my first ship in 2010 was through Proship, and now this gig I'm going through Oceanbound, which is Marco Cassell in Montreal. And so my experience is going through agencies, but you can also just go direct through through a cruise line like Princess. And I think that there are pros and cons either way. The pros, I think, of having an agent are if you're new to ships, they'll field, it's their job. First, if you're going to use an agent, remember that they work for you. You don't work for them. You're paying them a commission off of your salary, whether it's you're paying them or the cruise line's paying them. So don't feel like they're your boss because you're their boss. So the cool thing about that is that you can ask as many questions as you want, and they should, answer you promptly. And if you need anything, they'll help you. So if you're new to working on cruise ships, having an agent can be helpful because they know their way around the block, and if you need something, they know who to ask and how long different things take to process with different paperwork stuff you might need to do, and they'll help you go through your medical process and everything. So that's all really cool, and I've appreciated the help for both my contracts through the different agencies. The downside really is that you pay your agent, anywhere from maybe 5 at the very low end to like 15 at the very high end percent of whatever you make. And most agents have an agreement that you sign where if you want to do any cruise ships for the next 3 years, you have to go through them or something similar. And I think that kind of sucks because once you do a contract or two, you pretty much know your way around and you know who to talk to, and you don't really need that much help. So at that point, an agent can probably become sort of parasitic. Like, you want to keep working on ships, but you have this agreement that there has to be like a 3-year period where you're not working for the agreement to expire. So my biggest tip, if you're going to use an agent, is just be very aware of everything that you're signing, read everything really carefully, and don't sign anything if you have hesitations. So I'm not saying don't use an agent, just, there are pros and cons. Going direct through the cruise line, whatever company you want to work for, I don't have any experience with, but the main upside is that you're not paying an agent, so you get, keep more of your paycheck besides what the federal government thieves want to steal from you because they're fascist bastards. So that's really the main advantage, I think, of going direct through the cruise line. The downside maybe is that you feel more pressure to not ask a ton of questions and be a hassle to the entertainment coordinator, because in this case you're actually working for them, so if you bother them too much you might feel like they're not going to want to use you or whatever. But I would imagine that it's not so bad. So if if you feel like you know a little bit about cruise ships, maybe you have friends who have done it and you know the ropes a little bit, maybe try going direct and see how it goes. So those are basically your two options. The audition process, in all cases, is basically reliant on your sight reading skills. And I think I'll make another video about like what skills you need to work on a cruise ship, but the audition is really focused on your sight reading abilities. So back when I did my auditions for Proship and Oceanbound, basically you set an audition time. When you get to do it at home, you just hang on the phone and film yourself. So you're connected with them live through the phone, and then you send them the video file later. And you set a time, and then about an hour before that time, they'll send you a link or a download for some MP3s and some sheet music on PDF or whatever. And so you have an hour to prepare a number of different pieces in different styles and whatnot. And then when the audition starts, you basically just read through this stuff, and they'll give you a score based on it, see how good you can play. And depending on your instrument, they might have you improvise a little bit. Maybe like if you're a bass player, like walk over a basic blues form. If you're a horn player, they'll probably have you solo over some Aebersold recording or something. It's not a huge deal. You basically just play at whatever level you're able to play at, and then if you're working for an agent, they'll tell you, how well they think you did and where they think they can place you. And if you're doing an audition with the cruise line directly, they'll just say whether they want to hire you or not. And if not, then you can maybe try another cruise line, or maybe they'll give you advice on what you should improve. And chances are, if you don't pass an audition, which I've never actually heard of anyone not passing an audition, you need to work on your sight reading, because that's a really big component. If you can't take a big chunk of music and prepare it all relatively well within an hour, then you might not be ready to do an audition. But that's basically it. You just decide, hey, I want to work on a cruise ship, and you either contact an agency or contact a cruise line, set up an audition for the next week or two, do the audition, and if you do well, within a week or two, you should have a contract, and you can just be out there. It doesn't take that much time, and there's a pretty low barrier of entry as long as you're a decent musician, which I'm sure some of you are, and some of you maybe you need to work on your reading and your ability to play in a variety of different styles for another little while. But that's basically it. It's really easy to get a cruise ship gig, you guys. And again, please don't send me your promo packages or anything. I'm not an agent. I'm not going to get you a gig on a ship. I'm just spreading some information that I happen to have, because I know that it's kind of hard to find info about cruise ship gigs online. At least it was when I was trying to find info about it. So hope this is helpful. Please don't send me your band's promo package. And thanks for watching. Talk to you guys soon.